Hi, I'm Molly Ann Fairley, and yet another question from my online healing circle. Again, a very, very interesting question about what happens to us when we die. So, basically speaking, as far as I can make out, there are three stages of death. There is the first stage where we see people often going unconscious before they pass, and then they go in and out and in and out. And it's said that there is like a door leading to the first level of death, moving into the light energies. Because when we die, we go into a much lighter place than this earth plane. This earth plane is oscillating on quite a slow vibrationary frequency. And as our own frequency rises, as death occurs, we get lighter and lighter, and we become spirit and we leave. And this is why we see in the first stage of death, somebody coming and going and coming and going. And also, because they have actually absorbed that light from spirit in that first stage of death, when they come back in the interim period, they seem to be very lively, and that's when we see this sort of a lot of energy and liveliness in somebody, and then suddenly we're surprised when 2 days later they die. So, and they just die, they just go. That takes them into the second stage of death, which is where they have then become a light body passing through the first door, going into the second chamber of light, and that's when everything is drained away from them that they have experienced on the earth. All negativity, everything that's happened is cleared up. They go through a big healing. I've often seen spirit and had messages about them when they're in the healing chambers, and when they're in the healing chambers, I can't talk to them at that point. I can get people around them, or spirit around them will relay messages to me about them, but at that point they're going through a deep healing, especially if their death has been traumatic. Okay, and all that trauma is alleviated. Now, the third stage is when we all enter the light, and we become complete light energy. We are of the light, we are at one with source, we are back to our own inner source, our origins, which is 100% light, love, light. It's a wonderful place, and there we stay until we make a decision, a contract, to talk to the karmic lords about coming back for another incarnation. Now, the thing about it is what's important is to think about the fact that these people leave behind, or we all do, we leave our bodies, but we leave behind a trail of energy, of thoughts and experiences which are still on this dimension, okay? So I know that I said there's a clearing in the second chamber, but there's also like a stream of astral energy, if you like, left behind on the earth that somebody like me can tap into and clear very easily. So if that person has had a very traumatic death, I would be tapping into that energy, because at the moment they actually pass, they are no longer in pain. They haven't got a body anymore. You can't have pain with no body, can you? You can't have debts with no body. You can't have a mortgage. You can't have a car or money or, difficult parents. You can't have any of that. You haven't got a body. So that is cleared. That energy is left behind. Now, the interesting thing about it is, when we reincarnate, if we reincarnate onto this particular plane, we are coming back into that particular energy, and we pick up to some degree where we left off. Not entirely. Your consciousness will never go back to square one. You will always keep progressing and evolving all the time, but pick up. And also you will have made decisions and a contract in spirit with angelic beings and karmic lords and that kind of thing about what you want to live this time, in order to have more experiences, in order to evolve. Yes, you are not coming back to the same level of trauma. Please don't get too worried about this. You will come back in a higher state of consciousness, and because you're watching this time, you've definitely come back in order to do a lot of healing, to alleviate past lives, to alleviate past karmic debts, to dissolve problems from the past, and possibly many of you to heal your ancestors in the world of spirit. So yes, and the other question is, I'm going to answer that about, are spirits very busy? I think yes they are, and also they are allotted various different occupations, and when they start this work and they flit around giving information, somebody like me can tune into them very rapidly. And I actually had a friend of mine called Maggie, and she died some years ago, and she knew she was going to be a spirit guide before she died, because she actually said to me, I want to go, I've got work to do on the other side, and I will be more efficient and more effective over the other side. So that was very, very interesting, and I have often had messages from Maggie through, and telling me what to do and how to help people, and then a healing will come through. Very powerful. So I think that's all I have to tell you about this part, except that, are our relatives lined up ready to help us over? The answer is yes, they are. And it might not be the relative you're expecting, but definitely, definitely, definitely. Okay, hope that's helped you. Bye for now.